Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Jurgen Klopp's done it again. He's come out and said, I'm happy that Liverpool fans are not involved in transfers and that it's left to him and his bosses to sort it out. Let's get into it because you know the thing I like about Jurgen Klopp, I mean I don't like the fact that he's a Liverpool manager. As a Man United fan, I've got no love for Liverpool, but I have always respected Jurgen Klopp and I think he is respected by most fans of other rival clubs, to be fair, because he is one of the best managers in the world. There's no doubt of that. What he did with Liverpool to rebuild them really from a club that wasn't going to win the Premier League, I don't think, for a very, very long time. He did that. But one thing I do like about Jurgen Klopp as well is the fact that he isn't one of these coaches or players who pretends that I don't take any notice of the social media. I don't take any notice of the papers. And Jurgen Klopp clearly does. I mean, he had that incident at the start of the season where he was listening to Talk Sport on the way back and got into an argument with, was it Agbonlahor? And he's constantly falling out with in press conferences with journalists, and he's come out and done this again, saying, look, I look on social media and I see, well, let's just look at some of the quotes that he's come out with. It's good that in this case, in relation to transfers, we make the decisions, and we especially don't let the people who write on social media make the decisions, because that's just an opinion. If you go through social media and you look there, you'd think there's no bigger problem in the world than our midfield. I understand it 100%, but you know what? I understand this season makes people nervous. I understand that, but we're not ourselves in big parts of the season. That's it. But we still have to make good decisions and not panic. That's why I said whatever we do in the summer, it'll be enough for the people in the first place. That's how it is. But effectively, he did go on to say that I saw I was shown something on social media the other night about Joel Matip playing and Curtis Jones playing. Not a lot of people wanted them to play, and we won 2-1. I mean, I think it's fantastic that you've got a manager out there that is openly doing what they all do it. Like, I know it. The amount of times you get pictures in the dressing room after a result and you see all the players on their phones. I mean, this is not 1988, it's 2023. Footballers get paid good money and they do the same things that you do. They don't just all go and play golf or play career mode on FIFA. They're on social media and they're not robots. They love to read about themselves, and a lot of them, they want to read positivity, but they read the negativity as well, as Jurgen Klopp clearly does there. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think this season Jurgen Klopp has become very defensive of what he's built, and even with his own fans, he will call them out and say, look, you're just social media fans, you're not in charge of transfers, we're not going to panic. It's interesting that he mentioned the midfield though, because look, I'm not a Liverpool fan, I don't know how the social media scene works for Liverpool. I imagine it's similar to how it works for Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea and every other club, that you've all got your own ideas. That's the beauty of football, and I don't think Jurgen Klopp for 1 minute is saying, oh, these people on social media are idiots, we don't want to hear from them. It's the beauty of football, is to have opinion. But I actually do think that if Liverpool fans are moaning about the midfield, that is the area. And maybe I think sometimes we see Jurgen Klopp in press conferences and he tends to get aggravated by the questions that actually are the right questions. So I think there is a personality trait in Klopp that when he reacts to something, it's a bit like, am I bothered? I'm bothered though, but I think with Klopp, he is bothered. So if I was a Liverpool fan, I would be like, well, he's definitely listening to the fans. If he's calling the social media fans out and saying it's a good job that they're not in transfers and that they think the whole problem is the midfield, I would probably guess that Jurgen Klopp knows the problem is the midfield, but maybe knows he's not going to get everything he needs in that midfield, so is therefore already prepping you for next year about balance and realism in the transfer window. I mean, that's just a guess, but I look at Liverpool this season and there's absolutely no doubt that their big problem is the midfield. I think the defence gets a lot of the blame. Van Dijk and Trent have been consistently blamed this season, and they've had bad seasons. But in defence, and in their defence, if you've got a midfield that can protect you, you're not defending as much. You can play a higher line if you want to, which is what Liverpool want to do. Liverpool feel like they've gone back 20 metres as a team this season. And we know that people like Van Dijk and Trent are better when they can play higher up the pitch. But you can't do that if you're in... I mean, every team can get at Liverpool at the moment, and that games are won and lost in the midfield. So I think Liverpool fans are absolutely correct to call out the midfield issues. But obviously, as manager of the club, Klopp has a reputation to uphold and probably doesn't want it to be the focal point because it questions him and what he's doing, and also he will know what he can do in the summer. But they need 2 or 3 midfielders in the summer. They need to rebuild that midfield. I think Jordan Henderson and Fabinho amazingly have fell off massively. Thiago's never fit, and there's not a lot behind that. I mean, it's either old age like Milner, or it's younger players like Jones and Elliott who are coming through who may or may not be good enough. So look, but I find this fascinating. I think it's great, and I think obviously it will generate conversation in the Liverpool fan base. But I think it generates a conversation in the wider fan base that Jurgen Klopp does acknowledge the fact that he reads stuff on social media and in papers and stuff, and this is why he takes problems with some journalists as well. He obviously consumes it, and I never believe these managers and players who go, don't take any notice of it, Jim. You do take notice of it because you've got a lot more spare time than anyone else. You're not working 10-hour days and, having to take your kids to, judo class and get the shopping in and this, that and the other. And, you might get 20 minutes on social media if you're lucky. Most of these footballers have a lot of downtime and, a lot of spare time. And they do spend their time on there. They do. Where else? They haven't got their own secret social media where, it's Candy Floss Clouds and Lollipop Lane. They're on social media. They are on there. And managers are on there. Of course they are. And, Jurgen Klopp acknowledging it, I think is fantastic. And I think there should be more of it, really. I think there's a bit of a fear around it. But ultimately, football's such a simple game as well. You see people managing and you go, God, they're rubbish. How have they got that job? And actually, there isn't that much difference between somebody who's coaching in the lower leagues than there is somebody who gets a job in the Premier League sometimes. And the knowledge and analysis of football, well, you hear it yourself in the mainstream. It's bloody terrible sometimes. It's better. You hear much better down the pub. So, look, I think that the conversation is always. I think the gap between fans and the teams and the managers and the players needs to come closer. And there's a lot of sense out there. These people follow these clubs for years and years and years. They're watching every minute of every game. They're thinking about it, every minute of every day sometimes. And they're probably scouting better than some clubs scout themselves. So they know what the players are out there and they know what the weaknesses are. And as I say, I think with Klopp sometimes it's a defence mechanism. I think he is listening and also knowledge is power, isn't it? Imagine Jurgen Klopp logs onto Twitter and sees some Liverpool account saying this player at Roma would be brilliant for us. He does this, this, and this, and it might just, Jurgen Klopp probably knows about that player, but he might think, you can learn. Every day's a school day. But look, what do you think? What do you think about Jurgen Klopp? Do you think I'm right? Do you think he's sort of crying wolf a little bit? He is listening and he actually agrees with a lot of what's said and he's just trying to deny it because he wants to, try and maintain some level of control and realism. Realism could be the thing. He probably knows what his transfer budget is, and if it's 100 million, he ain't going to get a lot with it, is it? If it's 150, he's not going to get a lot. I think Liverpool need a summer like Manchester United last summer. They need 250, 200, 250. You've got to bring 5 players in. What are your thoughts? Get your comments in below. Smash the like on the video and let me know your thoughts in general as well. Thanks for watching.